Hey, welcome to the Echo Park podcast. This podcast is brought to you by echoparkforums.com. We offer classifieds, forums, and news stories for Echo Park. This is Jose Cervantes, your host. On June 5th, El Batey closed after 48 years because it couldn't come to lease agreements with West Holdings, the new landowners of the building on Echo Park Avenue and Morton Avenue Fork. Usually we have a podcast where we interview somebody one-on-one. In this case, we went to the streets on May 31st, an event that was put together in Echo Park for El Batey. When people found out that El Batey was going to be closing soon and that the possibility of it closing was coming up, they established an event where people can go and buy out El Batey so that they could not go away with a lot of stock. It was a show of appreciation by the neighborhood for El Batey for the years that it has been in the neighborhood and in the community. And what we did is we took the microphone to the streets and interviewed people and asked them questions about why they were there, what they thought was going to replace El Batey, their thoughts on El Batey, their thoughts sometimes on business in Echo Park in general and the way it's going. And a lot of people were there that day. It was a good day. People were buying things from El Batey, and obviously it was also bitter because people knew that the store was going to be closing. And so this was recorded on May 31st, and the store closed on June 5th. Even though it had small possibilities of still remaining open, but the lease agreements didn't go through. So you're listening to something that happened before the closing, and now obviously the store has been closed. So I hope that you enjoy the interviews and people's thoughts about El Batey. And it was a very good day, and the music you're listening to right now in the background is from the OGs, a live band that was playing there all morning and into the early afternoon. You can contact them at 626-674-7432 and ask for Steve Garcia. So enjoy the music, enjoy the interview, and here you go. First interview is Carla.
Hi, my name's Carla, and I'm out here supporting El Batey grocery store. It's been a neighborhood grocery store for 48 years, and Avelia has run it for the entire time. She's 74 years old, and the new owners of the building, West Holdings, has raised her rent triple, and then gave her an eviction notice. So she's been given 5 days to get all of her items out of the store. So we're out here trying to support and get some people to call up and tell them that what they're doing is unfair.
So I see you're also giving flyers and a little bit more involved. What's your connection not only with El Batey but also with Lisa, who put this event together?
I've been friends with Lisa for years. I helped her out with her store when she got evicted. I've lived in the neighborhood for about 10 years now, and when I first moved here, I didn't have a lot of money, and I had just gotten divorced, and I moved in the neighborhood, and I went into El Batey to buy some groceries, and I handed her my credit card, and it was like one of those days where anything could break your spirit. And she was like, "Oh, I don't take credit cards." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll run to an ATM somewhere." And Avelia looked at me and she said, No, sweetheart, you come back tomorrow and pay. And literally, I had like tears in my eyes. And that is why I think she's like the heart and soul of this neighborhood.
And that's a common story where she just lets people take what they need at that moment, and then with the trust that they'll come back and support her as well.
Exactly. And that's why we're out here supporting her today, because she literally is the heart and soul of this neighborhood.
How do you think this corner will change, and what do you see replacing this business?
Unfortunately, the change that I've seen over the last 10 years is heartbreaking. I don't know what's going to replace it. I won't shop there, whatever it is. I will still shop at the other stores around it because it's not their fault what they're doing, but I will not shop at whatever replaces El Batey or Flounce.
Yeah, I'm Ted Adams, and I've been living in the area in Silver Lake actually for about 8 years, but coming to Echo Park and came out here to basically like everyone else, just to show support for a part of Echo Park that we're losing. And I think we all agree that like the community is moving in a direction that a lot of people see as losing part of its multicultural value. And I think a lot of people, what we're doing out here is we want to talk. We want to talk about ways in which we can incorporate people who have been here for years in this shifting demographics of Echo Park, in this basically wave of development and this land rush that's occurring right now, and think of creative solutions to keep people here, to keep what we love about Echo Park here. And so it's really exciting to see everyone here. It's really sad to say goodbye to this local store that everyone loves, but it's also really inspiring to see the response that's occurred, and people handing out flyers, people playing music, people talking. This issue is it's kind of slapping us in the face with this, but hopefully it'll wake us up to move forward on trying to preserve some of these cultural elements that we love about Echo Park.
What do you think makes El Batel special for this corner in the community in Echo Park?
Well, I mean, one reason is that Avelia is she's like everyone's grandma or mom. Sorry, more like mom. It's not. You walk by here, she gives you advice, she gives you a smile, she makes your day better. I mean, these are the things that the reasons why our community is a beautiful place to be. And so the small benefits that we get from the store are much deeper than things that we buy here. It's these personal connections, and honestly, it's therapy. She was like all of our therapists as we walk by, and we're gonna miss that. We're gonna lose that, and we got to fill it with something else. And hopefully, coming together as a community and staying together, maybe forming some small organizations as a result of this, will fill that gap.
Do you think the community is gonna support whatever moves in here?
No, they're not going to support what moves in here. Actually, people are going to be really upset. I feel bad for whoever decides to move in here, because people have been talking about that, and they're like, people have been saying that other businesses already probably are afraid to move in here because of what they're following, the negative feel that has gone down in regards to this. So people are theorizing that it'll probably have to be like a major corporate entity that fills the gap, because no one else would want to.
My name is JT Vernon. I'm a writer and a social worker. I've been living in Echo Park for the past 7 years, and I came out here really to support Avelia. She's the shop owner there over at El Batey, and because she's really been the soul of this community, and it's really sad to see her go.
So you've been here since 2007 in Echo Park?
Yes, I've literally lived right across the street since then.
And you've been able to shop at her grocery store since?
Yeah, she has a lot of stuff, and she's really, really supportive of the community. There were a couple times where it's like short $5, and she'd be happy to say, just pay me next time and pay it back, and she's really been there for a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, you said a lot of people say that you go there and if you don't have money, if you can't pay with whatever you have. We heard a story of a girl who first went there with a credit card at the time when she didn't accept credit cards or debit cards, and she couldn't buy what she wanted to. So Avelia just said, just come back and give me the cash when you can. This was when she didn't take credit cards. So it seems like people always saw that story, but maybe it's becoming a myth where people are wondering if that's really real. But you're saying that she also does that.
She absolutely does it. I mean, she's probably the closest thing we have to like a kind of non-profit / charity center in Echo Park, because she's really there for the community, and she's really there when people need it.
So, first of all, what do you think of the fact that they're being evicted, and what do you see replacing El Batey, and how would you feel about that?
That's a really tough question. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine what they're gonna put there, because she's been there for so long. It seems the way the community is going is they're looking for something a little bit more high end there. But I don't know what else to say. I mean, I think a shop like hers is still needed in Echo Park.
Somebody like you is somebody who is directly going to be supporting whatever moves in there. Like a consumer like you, would you feel comfortable supporting moves in there? Are you open to it? And what parameters do you give the company that will move in there for you to support them?
Well, I think they really have to come in with an understanding of what the community is and the culture here in the community. Ideally, they'd be really respectful of the history that's here, more so than a company that, say, is just looking to fill a space. Because I think that this community is so vibrant and so well, there's a lot of people that are very aware of what's going on in the community, and that can really hurt or harm them if they're not coming in with that kind of attitude and respect.
Are you familiar with the people who own this now? Are you looking into that? Have you looked into that before?
No, I'm not familiar outside the context of El Batey.
And was this new to you, or how did you find out about the event?
No, it's been talked about it, with my friends for the last couple of weeks that this was going to be happening. So I found out through a friend.
Did you go in there and find something that you wanted today?
So many things. I forgot my cash back at home, but I'm probably going to go back there later and pick a few things up just as, something symbolic for sure.
All right, well, thank you for the interview, for giving your opinion.
Great. Anytime. Thank you.
Hello there, my name is Rio. I'm with a grassroots organization called STAY, Standing Together Advocating for Our Youth. And I got wind of this buyout, this flash mob buyout event through Facebook, and lots of things being posted through Facebook predominantly. And I'm here because I want to first and of course foremost support a local long-term business that's been here in the area. It's quite incredible that she's been here for 48 years. I think Doña Evelia was telling us when we came to speak with her a couple of days ago that she's probably one of the two long-term businesses in the area. So I think that's an incredible thing to preserve, especially because she wants to continue as far as she can take it. I'm also here because I do think that I see I see a bigger connection to what's currently happening in Echo Park, and that's that a lot of local businesses are being displaced by other businesses, and a lot of those local businesses often are run by folks who are low income, folks who may be raza, folks who've been in the area for a long time, well over 30 years, and a lot of the people just get forced evicted for what is being called gentrification today. And so obviously I feel that that's very harmful, definitely to the community, but definitely even just like psychologically, it's really harmful for those of us who grew up here to see that stores and people we can relate to are being just kicked out due to people, whether it be greed or maybe it's racism. I mean, I'm sure there's a slew of reasons why gentrification happens, but either way, I think it's important that we preserve the fact that Echo Park has been traditionally a multiracial, predominantly Latino, but multiracial community, and I think it actually benefits all of us, anybody, even the newcomers, to actually keep it as a multiracial. So it's really awesome that obviously I can tell that there's long-time residents that are coming out, but there's also new residents, because I feel like everybody understands the value of having a mixed racial, mixed economic community. And so I'm hoping to make sure that we can build a network amongst all folks in Echo Park, so that if we see another business that gets taken out, that we make sure we go support that local business, even if it's just a flash mob or even if it's just a phone call to the people who are doing the eviction. I feel like these are necessary steps to make sure that folks who are coming in to just develop and for money understand that we are here to protect our communities, and we're going to do all that we can to stand by them, so that they know that you can't just come in here without it being questioned. So,
and like you said, 700 people RSVP'd on Facebook, and it seems like many people are coming in through that door, maybe even getting close to some of those numbers. And like you said, it's not Latino, it's not just white people coming in. Everybody is buying stuff from Batey because they all somehow understand what you said, that it's a connection to Echo Park, and it's been here for 48 years. So that's what's made it Batey special. It's the fact that everybody who's been there knows Avelia, and the fact that she's been an icon in the community. So how does it make you feel, like you said, seeing all sorts of races and everybody supporting the Batey?
I feel very hopeful because I'm hoping that this would give us a lot of momentum to connect with different people from, and the thing about STAY, fortunately, has been that it's been multiracial, multi-economic, like multi-class. We've had all sorts of people, single parents, people who are lawyers, whatever, you name it. That's been what STAY is about, and so I'm hoping that this is an opportunity to also plug in with other folks so that we can continue the resistance to just being, folks being displaced for no unjust reason. So I'm excited that today also, and this is not something we organize, but we're here, STAY is here, myself is also here to support this, and it's just beautiful to see that a bunch of people are coming out and support it, and because I think often we will think that people don't want these kind of, these traditional Latino markets in the neighborhood, which obviously what's proven here that's not the case.
And how can people stay in touch with STAY and what you guys are up to in the community or other parts of the community?
Wonderful. You can email us at togetherwestayfree@gmail.com, and you can also visit our website if you would like more information at togetherwestay.org. And obviously you can find us on Facebook as in STAY, Standing Together Advocating for Our Youth. Please do plug in with us, because this is exactly why, obviously our name STAY says it all. We want to be able to ensure that people who want to stay here are allowed to stay here, whether it's home evictions, foreclosures, or businesses being locked out. We want to make sure that people have a chance to stay here, and that if they are getting evicted or foreclosed or whatever, that people know their legal rights. So we want to support as much as possible the traditional, long-term, what happens to be low-income community here. Yeah.
Next up is Lisa.
Well, I used to have a store on the street next door, and Avelia was always very kind to me. I loved the store, and I had a lot of fond memories of it. And when I heard that this was happening to her, and it was happening so quickly, I just thought something had to be done. And I knew I had already made a Facebook page for myself when I had to leave my store, so I knew how to do it. So I just thought, why not do it? Because I'm not in this building anymore, and it was an easy enough thing for me to do to try to bring people together to help her.
And what store was that? And what store was that?
I had a store called Flounce Vintage, and it was next door to El Batey for 11 and a half years. And a few months ago, because of faulty plumbing, my ceiling fell in, and I had a dispute with the landlords, and I ended up having to leave. So I'm actually not renting on this block anymore, but I still feel like this is my neighborhood, and I'm close to Avelia, so I thought that I would help out.
And where is Flounce Vintage located today?
Oh, we moved to Virgil Avenue, 718 North Virgil Avenue, near Melrose. And we opened a month ago. It's going well, but I do miss Echo Park.
So what do you think the company has in store for this building? What do you think will replace not only your location, but El Batey? And what do you think their plans are?
I'm not sure. I heard that a high-end clothing store is going into my place, and I know that they're raising the rent a lot. I have heard, I don't know if this is true, that they're raising El Batey's rate, that they're tripling it, and I know that they're charging, doubling the rents of the apartments. The apartments, when I moved into the building, the apartments were around $600 for a one-bedroom, and they're going up to $2,400 as of whenever the new owners, who are Grafton Lofts, are renting them. So I would assume that they think that the neighborhood is ready for a kind of gentrification that I am not sure it is, but I guess we'll see.
And when you decided on moving to Echo Park, what was your decision-making process? Why did you choose this building, and also why this intersection and neighborhood?
Well, at the time, I had a partner, and she lived right near the store, and she found the space, and we decided to share the space together. And I loved the neighborhood because it reminded me of other neighborhoods that I lived in that were sort of mixed and had all kinds of different people, and it was also really affordable at the time. So when I moved in, it was something I could do without breaking my neck financially. And then my partner ended up leaving within a year, and I stayed, and I really got to be very close to a lot of people in the neighborhood, and I became very attached to the neighborhood, and I started a barter organization in the neighborhood. So I ended up spending like almost all of my time here, and
There's obviously more businesses along the first floor of this building. What do you think makes El Batey so different?
Well, El Batey is the one who's been here through everything. I mean, she has been here 48 years. She was here when the neighborhood, she's gone through, 10 different waves of the neighborhood. I mean, they used her location in the early 90s for a movie about gangs called Mi Vida Loca. I mean, she was here before there was a lot of gang activity. She was here through a lot of crime in this neighborhood. And then, 5 waves of gentrification, artists, and then, as the neighborhood changed, she's been a constant, and everybody buys groceries here. And she's a different kind of store. She's an old school store. We don't have stores like that anymore. I can't even tell you the number of people who she kept tabs for, when they didn't have money. And when you were sick, she would bring you soup. And when, she cared about everybody in the neighborhood. Oh, that's so funny. She's walking up right now. She cares about everybody in the neighborhood. And and is constantly doing little kindnesses for them. And she's been here. She's the last vestige of a way of life that doesn't exist here anymore. And she's also the last business on the block that is Hispanic owned. So, I mean, it makes a big difference to see somebody that has that much history with the neighborhood that people care so much about be treated like she's nothing.
So there's a struggle between the old and the new in Echo Park. Is there like a middle ground that you see working out, and not only in this building but in the neighborhood?
Well, I would say that the middle ground is today. The middle ground is all these people, who are people that are trying to coexist, and they're all different ethnicities, and they are struggling. And as I have been saying to people over and over again, like, we are not the enemy. These big companies that are buying up real estate don't have anything to do with the people that have businesses on this block, the people that love Avalia, the people that are just trying to get by, the people that are, that care about the neighborhood. And the fact that people are buying up the neighborhood is tragic for those people.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for your interview, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
My name is Liz, and I own a little business on Temple Street. And I am here because this little market is an important business in the community, and I think it's extremely important to help those people come up. When neighborhoods come up, the people that help the neighborhoods come up should be entitled to reap the benefits that everybody else seems to be reaping.
So you're here not only as a supporter of Batey, but also as a fellow business owner in Echo Park, I believe District 5, as far as the neighborhood council goes, down by Temple. How do you relate to El Batey, and what's your experience been like as far as having a business in Echo Park?
Well, I've only had a business for 4 years, and right now it feels a little precarious for all of us who started here because we can make it happen, and we felt a sense of community from the people that supported us, and we feel like we want to make sure we want to stay here. Things are changing, but I hope not too extreme. And El Batey has been such an anchor in the community, and it's so important for the health of any community to have diversity. Not just, it's nice to have organic food markets and coconut water, but it's also nice to have the old school stores that people need, that provide the basics in your life, and that are owned by the people that make communities better.
In your experience, how did you end up choosing Echo Park, and how has that experience been in Echo Park?
I chose Echo Park 10 years ago. I lived in Venice, which sort of already went through this, because I felt like this was sort of like a Venice without the water. It was real. It was diverse. I raised my son here. We love our community. We feel like all of our neighbors, the things around us, represent something in the world that we feel is real, that we can identify with. And we share. I think it's a sense of values. The people here, maybe there's similar value systems here that are important to us.
Did you frequent El Batey personally, or just want to show your support as a business owner?
I live on the other side of the 101, but over the years, just driving by, and for some reason, there's something that you get sensitive to. I just stopped by to get toilet paper or dishwashing soap or something, and I always felt like that woman in there is so cool. And it's just something that went in the back of my head. It wasn't like, I have to go there because of her, but it's something that you're not even conscious of, and then you don't realize how great it is until it's gone.
It's very interesting. El Batey is at a 3-way stop sign, and it really makes people stop and see what's in front of these stop signs, and now it's going to feel very different. What do you foresee, if anything, what type of business would be successful in this type of corner, and especially taking over El Batey after 48 years?
Not what I prefer, but what would be successful? It's got a beer and wine license, so it's probably going to be something related to the sale of beer and wine. And I don't know. There's lots of bars and restaurants going up everywhere. I don't know what the longevity of those places, how long they've got. I don't know. It's too much in a transition to tell.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Hey, and this next one, this is Jose again. This next one is the last one. This one is Lorenzo.
Hi, my name's Lorenzo. I'm just here to offer a little bit of support to El Batey. It's a very unfortunate situation they're in, sort of being pushed out of the neighborhood. So came here, bought a few beers, some chips, decided to enjoy the sun.
What's your connection to Echo Park and to El Batey in the past?
I've been here in Echo Park for 29 years. My family's been in Echo Park for over 70 years. I've passed El Batey pretty much every day of my life for the past 29 years. I work in downtown, and again, I just see it all the time. I can't say that I've frequented the business very often, but my sister lived across the street, and she would get her bare necessities here on a daily basis. We're all very familiar with with the location, and it's difficult seeing a very familiar face and business from Echo Park being pushed out.
So when you come down the avenue and come to that stop sign, you've been seeing El Batey there for like 29 years or since you've been driving. What do you see even replacing El Batey in the future? What can you even imagine being there?
I can't imagine anything replacing El Batey. I mean, El Batey represented a very important part of the microcosm that used to be Echo Park. That's drastically changing, obviously, as anyone can see by taking a quick 360 on the Echo Park Avenue. So, to be honest, I don't see what else can replace it. I mean, the best of any sort of offered evil might be another independent store of some sort, ran by some sort of minority to keep true to what it used to be. But that would obviously be a naive request or a naive thought to believe that would be what's replacing El Batey, considering it's being purchased by some sort of developer that obviously has other plans. If I had to choose, I would say it's tough. I really can't. I guess I can't even make that decision. I don't know what I would be happy with replacing it.
Well, since we're talking to a longtime Echo Park resident and native, this corner, as you know, we have Chevron across the street now, and used to be Magic Gas. That's another development that happened that took away something that had been here a long time. And the other corner has new developments and lofts and residential spaces there in that corner. So it almost seems like it's a connection between what's going on with this corner, with this building being excavated for what it has had historically. So as far as the other corners in this intersection, how do you see that development happening, going on?
Can't say I'm too happy about any of the new development that's occurred within the past 10 years. There used to be, like you mentioned, what used to be referred to as Magic Gas, right on the corner of Morton and Echo Park. And I can't honestly say that I would frequent the gas station much, but it was nice to have an independent, family-owned gas station that was able to sustain itself in Echo Park. Across the street from that used to be an old farmland, an old hospital next to that, and now it's just a series of maybe 20 or so condos that each of which sold for no less than $500,000 at around 700 square feet. It's ridiculous. And this entire intersection is just it just contravenes everything that Echo Park ever used to stand for. We now have like you said, we now have a Chevron. We now have a severely developed, overpriced set of condos right across the street from that. We now have immediately adjacent to that a building that's just been purchased, and they're pushing out any person that can't afford to pay their substantial rent increases. And this is what Echo Park seems to be heading in the direction of, and I can't say with any sort of sincerity that I'm happy about that. I miss the old Echo Park, but I'm not I'm not naive to the points where I'm going to say that that will ever come back. We all will have to adapt to the changes that are coming and the changes that have already arrived. But with that said, there are areas in which we can take a stand, and I believe that what we see here today is one of those united points where people are kind of coming together to say, we don't want whatever you have in mind for replacing El Batey, because frankly I don't think anything can replace it.
So the far-reaching hands of development have come up Echo Park Avenue and now are taking over this intersection. Do you foresee like a middle ground possibly working out in Echo Park where development and large companies and name brands, can be accepted in the community, or do you think it's going to be a struggle that's going to continue happening with the consumers around here?
I think that's a difficult question. I'm not sure if there's any sort of middle ground that can be reached. I think it's fair to say that they will be taking the upper hand, because obviously they have the resources to push their weight around and sort of establish themselves wherever there's any sort of availability. But with that said, as long as they don't keep making their way up the avenue, which I don't believe they can because of zoning restrictions, the majority of the neighborhood is going to be able to stay free from having to see these new developments, unless they're on their way to work or they want to frequent the establishments. But either way, I'm not certain that there's any sort of middle ground that can be reached. Eventually there's going to be a point where they saturate all the different space that's available here, and there's nothing left for these new developers or even new businesses that want to open up shop here. But when that happens, people will just start offering more money to others to purchase or to rent. Rent prices will keep increasing. So the middle ground is maybe for people to take a stand and to stop selling, and to let the businesses that are already here stay, including those that are charging inordinate amounts of money, and those that are building houses and renting out, or building condos and renting out. That's fine. They got in here early. They're a big part of the new gentrification phase in Echo Park. But to put a stop to that and to reach a middle ground where everyone here in Echo Park and the businesses that have arrived and have made a place for themselves here in Echo Park to remain is for it to somehow stop. And for it to stop, it's got to reach a point where people need to stop selling them the space and giving them the chance to push everyone out.
Shifting a little bit of the industry around, shifting topics a little bit, when it comes to restaurants, for example, in Echo Park. I don't know if you're familiar. In Echo Park Forums, we published a piece about how Alleviate in Echo Park, down Echo Park Avenue, is closing because it was offering $45 and $60 dishes per person for a 4 or 5 course dish. So that didn't work out. It's going to be closing in June. And we published a piece about how maybe that may be too high for the Echo Park market. But there is some sort of middle ground where new restaurants are being successful in Echo Park. Have you frequented restaurants that are new and that you've enjoyed and see working out in long term? And what's the price range where you think these markets are working, as far as like what the consumer is willing to pay for new businesses and restaurants in the community?
I am familiar with Echo Park Forums, and I did read that article about Alleviate. I can say that I've been to Alleviate one time. It was, in my opinion, a little expensive for what you got, but then again, I'm not the type of person that frequents those sorts of restaurants that are a little more maybe into the fine dining side of things. With that said, they were here. It used to be some sort of yacht club. I remember it had this weird diagram on the front, and I had never been there when it was the yacht club. I'm not too sad to see it closing down. It's unfortunate for the business owners. It's always a sad thing to see a business going down. But I can't say I would have ever been to the place again or recommended it to anyone that I know. It just isn't the sort of place that I frequent for dining. As far as other restaurants go in Echo Park, I have frequented a good variety around here. In particular, Masa is one of my favorites. I think that they have a very good range of offerings, and they have delicious food. Staff has always been great. and on top of that, their prices are perfect for I believe what they offer. And you can't beat a long day of work and then bringing your own bottle of wine and picking up a panini for all for less than $15. I love the place. And in addition to that, there's Park, which was recommended by a good friend of mine, and that's a delicious restaurant as well. I've only been there a few times, but I plan on going back in the future. Other than that, I mean, I've been to pretty much everything there is around here, and I don't have any restaurants that I can say that I don't like, to be honest. There's also the Bright Spot, Tex, Mohawk Bend. I like them all.
So it seems the community is willing to accept these new establishments, maybe because of the price or the culture they bring in. What makes them successful? The ones that are able to succeed with the new community. I mean, with the old community and bringing in something new.
Well, I'm gonna go back to my Masa example. They weren't always around. I can't pinpoint exactly when they came into being in Echo Park. I would say no more than 10 years ago. And what used to be there before that was an old bakery, I believe, which is why they call themselves Masa. Or I'm not sure that's exactly why they call themselves Masa, but that's always what I believed. What I believe makes them successful meshing into the community is the fact that if you walk in there, they're very accepting no matter who you are. They treat everyone the same there. The culture in there is very nice. They employ their own diverse amount of staff there. And like I said, everyone is very welcoming. It's a very warm feeling when you go into Masa. The food is great and very reasonably priced. So they didn't come into Echo Park with any intention of charging high prices simply because they see the dynamic of the people that are moving into Echo Park changing. They came in here and they set up a good menu, hired good staff, and it's all at a reasonably priced amount that people that were always in Echo Park, that people in Echo Park have always been used to, had no problem paying. And I respect that because as any new business, you have in mind making money. Obviously, they must have had in mind making money when they established themselves in Echo Park, yet they came in here and they stayed true to what people were willing to pay without sacrificing, quality of food, quality of service, or any of that. And for that, they've always had my business, and they always will, as long as they're able to maintain that balance, which I think other businesses should look to as an example.
Staying with businesses, the newest one I think that opened up is Trencher. Have you been to that? And what's been your opinion of that location? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, Trencher is definitely a new one. I've tried one sandwich there maybe a couple of weeks ago. I enjoyed it. With that said, it was late at night, so I didn't have a chance to really stick around and enjoy the scene very much. It was more just a grab and go, picking up a sandwich because it was late and I hadn't eaten yet. I enjoyed the sandwich, but other than that, there's not much I can say about it. I need to return and sort of sit back and enjoy the people watch, enjoy the culture there, and see what's going on to be able to give a good assessment. But if I had to say anything now, I would say that the price is a little steep. But again, I've been spoiled by places like Masa where you get a 3-course meal for $15. So it's a bit difficult for me to give an unbiased opinion to that.
Maybe Trencher should follow Masa's strategy and do a BYO, bring your own beer into the marketplace, right?
That would be nice. I'd probably be there in the next few hours if they allowed me to bring my own beer.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your opinions not only on El Batey and different businesses old and new in Echo Park. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, welcome back. So that's the end of the podcast episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversations, the questions that were thrown out there for people. I hope it made you feel like you were there maybe that day on Saturday helping El Batey sell its products. And I hope it just gave you, good insight into what people think as far as the people that were there as far as El Batey closing. If you enjoyed the podcast, obviously, please let somebody know about it, somebody from Echo Park or not, somebody with some sort of interest in Echo Park. We would really appreciate it. Thank you again for your time and talk to you in the next episode.